All right, so let's try a bit of a thought experiment to kick things off today.
Okay, I'm ready.
Imagine you could take the raw, unfiltered chaos of your office Slack channel. You know, the politics, the ego, the unintentional comedy, all those passive-aggressive
Oh
emojis.
yeah, the dreaded thumbs up emoji.
Exactly. Imagine taking all of that and somehow elevating it into high art.
Hell.
But, and here is the real kicker, you do it using the very technology that, frankly, everyone is terrified is going to replace them.
Right. Which means today we are talking about the Ms Quita Gurl Show. And just so we are completely clear, right out of the gate, it is pronounced Quita.
Quita, yes, very
Okay.
important distinction.
Absolutely.
And looking at the materials we have for this deep dive today, the show Bible,
Yeah.
the character breakdowns, the production notes, it becomes really obvious that this isn't just a sitcom.
Not at all.
It feels more like a Trojan horse. On the outside, it looks like this stylish animated comedy set in Chicago,
Okay.
but inside, it is a brutally sharp deconstruction of the modern workplace.
It really is a fascinating piece of media. And what caught my attention right off the bat isn't just the content, but the actual construction of the show itself.
Yeah, the meta aspect of it.
Exactly. It's this incredibly meta commentary on how we work now.
Right. And we really have to start with the premise because it's so unique.
Yeah.
So this is an adult animated comedy series, but the how it was made is honestly just as interesting as the plot.
Oh, for sure.
The source material is very specific about this. It was created by a single human writer and producer who is utilizing various AI tools to bring the vision to life.
Right, and I think that distinction is really crucial for us to highlight. It is not, AI generated in the sense that a computer just hallucinated a script.
Right, right.
The soul, the direction, the comedic timing, that is all entirely human. It's a human creator using AI as a paintbrush.
Which is incredibly ironic considering the show is set partly inside a massive AI industry corporation.
The layer.
I know, I love it. So our mission for this deep dive is to really get into the architecture of this show. We want to explore how it uses this serialized ensemble format to satirize corporate hierarchy.
And systemic bias, too.
Yes, and that constant everyday friction between optics,
Yeah.
Just looking good
Yeah.
and actually providing real value.
And it does all of this while balancing two very distinct worlds.
Right, Chicago.
Exactly. Set in Chicago, you have the high-powered corporate environment of M&G artificial intelligence industry.
The Office.
The Office. And then you have the domestic social world of M&G The Heights, which is this upscale residential complex where most of these characters actually live.
Which, let's be honest, living in an apartment building owned by your employer.
Yeah.
That is a dystopian nightmare just waiting to happen.
It is the ultimate set of golden handcuffs. You can literally never clock out.
So let's dive right into the center of gravity here. The main character herself, Quita.
Quita is, she is a force. She's a director at the firm, and the show Bible describes her as sharp, stylish, and unapologetically intelligent.
Unapologetic is the perfect word for her.
It is. She is not someone who is just stumbling into success. She is heavily prepared for it.
I really loved the description of her season 1 arc in the notes. Because usually in sitcoms, the main character stays pretty static, right? They don't really change.
Right, the classic reset button.
Exactly. But here, she goes through a serious foundational shift. She starts out with this almost idealistic optimism. She moves to Chicago thinking, if I am excellent, I will naturally rise to the top.
Which is a belief system a lot of us start with, frankly. The production notes actually call it belief-based leadership.
Belief-based leadership.
Yeah, the idea that the system is neutral and purely meritocratic. But Quita faces a massive reckoning.
A rude awakening.
Exactly. She learns pretty quickly that these corporate systems are not neutral. So by the end of the season, she shifts into what the notes call strategy-based leadership.
Meaning she realizes that brilliance alone isn't enough.
Right. Brilliance has to be protected.
That distinction, belief-based versus strategy-based, is just so powerful. Belief-based sounds really nice, doesn't it? It assumes the world is fair.
It does. It assumes that if you just keep your head down and do the work, the rewards will automatically follow.
But they don't.
No, the show is arguing that in a corporate structure like M&G, that mindset is an absolute trap. If you just do the work without the strategy, someone else is going to take the credit.
And speaking of strategy and protection, she doesn't do it alone. We definitely have to talk about Erica.
Oh, essential. Erica is Quita's best friend and the assistant director at the firm. But she is definitely not just a typical sitcom sidekick.
No way.
Yeah.
The notes actually call her the emotional enforcer. I just love that title.
It fits her perfectly.
Yeah.
While Quita is the strategist, preparing and planning the moves, Erica is the one actively reading the room.
She has the radar.
Exactly. She has this instinct for identifying threats before they even manifest into actual problems. She is the unapologetic truth teller.
It's such a dynamic partnership. Quita leads with strategy, Erica leads with truth, and they function tightly as a unit. But there's a third element to this team that I found really refreshing, especially for a corporate satire.
Megan.
Yes, Megan, the assistant.
This is a really key detail from the source material. In a lot of shows, and let's be real, in a lot of actual offices, the assistant is treated as completely invisible or just as a pawn.
Totally ignored.
But the show Bible explicitly states that Quita and Erica treat Megan as an equal.
They respect her brilliance.
They do,
Yeah.
which contrasts so sharply with how the rest of the corporate world treats her.
It shows that Quita and Erica aren't just looking out for themselves. They are actively building a tribe based on real competence and respect.
Which brings us nicely to the actual battlefield where this tribe has to survive. M&G artificial intelligence industry.
Oh man, this place, it sounds like every single tech company marketing brochure brought to life, but with this seriously dark underbelly.
Oh, absolutely.
It markets itself to the world as progressive, forward-thinking, the whole "we are building the future" narrative.
But internally, the reality is it rewards ego. It rewards proximity to power. It is completely obsessed with optics.
Fake it till you make it, basically.
Exactly. And again, the irony is palpable here. It's an artificial intelligence company, but the biggest problems causing friction are entirely human. Politics, posturing, basic insecurity.
And speaking of insecurity, we have to talk about the antagonists, the villains of the cubicle farm. We have got Jay and Vera.
Right, so Vera embodies what the notes brilliantly call institutional arrogance.
Oh, we all know of Vera.
We do. She is that person who mistakes her title and authority for actual leadership. She thinks just because she's in charge, she automatically has all the answers.
But Jay is a completely different kind of problem.
Very different.
Jay is that guy we have all worked with at some point. Deeply insecure, highly entitled. And in season 1, he commits the absolute cardinal sin of the corporate world.
The theft.
He steals an idea.
Specifically, he steals an idea that was developed by Quita, Erica, and Megan. And this isn't just some petty office grievance. This theft drives the entire main conflict of the season.
It connects right back to that core theme we mentioned earlier. Who actually gets the credit?
Yes, and who decides what success looks like?
But here's where it gets really interesting. The notes revealed this amazing twist. It's this dramatic irony that we, the audience, know, but the characters don't.
Oh, this is the best part.
So Jay thinks he has completely gotten away with it, right? He is riding high on this stolen idea, soaking up the praise.
But the CEOs of M&G, and there are 2 of them, apparently they don't actually know Jay stole it.
Right.
In fact, based on the success of that product, they have requested a second product. And who did they specifically ask for by name to develop it?
Quita and Erica.
Exactly. So Jay is now stuck in this massive tension of his own making. He is desperately trying to manage his fake win, but the people in absolute power are actually looking right at the women he stole from for the next big thing.
That is just delicious. It is like a ticking time bomb of corporate karma.
It really is. And it highlights something the show seems very intent on exploring: the friction between optics and actual value.
Because Jay has the optics.
Right, Jay has the optics. He has his name on the stolen idea. But Quita and Erica have the actual value. They are the ones who can generate the ideas. And the show asks a great question. In the long run, what actually wins?
It is the difference between just looking busy and actually building something real. Jay looks the part. He probably uses all the right trendy buzzwords in the stand-up meetings.
Oh, definitely. He knows exactly how to play the game. But the show is suggesting that the game has very hard limits. Eventually, you are asked to deliver again.
And Jay can't deliver.
He can't, because the core innovation was never his to begin with.
And the show frames this specifically through the lens of Black women in corporate spaces. The source material mentions that the narrative is largely about how talented women, specifically Black women, have to outmaneuver these systems that frankly weren't built for them.
Right. It's the visual transition from waiting for fairness to actively claiming power. Quita and Erica have to stop waiting for someone in HR to magically notice Jay stole their work, and they have to start strategizing on how to leverage their actual undeniable value.
Now, if the office is the battlefield, the apartment building M&G, the Heights, is the Well, it's not exactly a peaceful sanctuary, is it?
No, not at all. It is more like the social arena. It's an upscale complex, lots of shared amenities, a gym, a rooftop lounge, a private theater.
Dorks.
Yeah. But the source notes point out that this layout makes avoidance completely impossible. You can't just go home, shut your door, and hide. Your colleagues and your neighbors are all right there, in your face, all the time.
And the cast of characters living in this building is completely wild.
Yeah.
But one thing that really stood out to me in the notes is that they are all successful.
Yes.
This is not a show about 20-somethings struggling to pay rent in the big city.
That is a very important distinction to make. The characters are described as well-educated and financially stable. It totally changes the stakes of the comedy. It's not about basic survival. It's about status, legacy, and identity.
Let's run through some of these neighbors because they break so many standard sitcom stereotypes. First up, we have Becky.
Ah, Becky. She is described as privileged personified.
She fully thinks she is a major power player.
She does.
Yeah.
She firmly believes that because she has access, she can get invited into the room. She assumes she actually has authority in that room.
But she doesn't.
Oh. The show clarifies that she actually has zero agency. She is literally just a symptom of privilege. But, and I find this really interesting, she is still considered a friend of the core group.
She isn't malicious.
Exactly. She is not a calculated villain like Jay. She is just completely deluded.
I think that is such a sharp, relatable observation. I mean, we all know a Becky. Someone who is essentially nice, maybe even fun to grab a drink with, but is just completely oblivious to how the world actually works for everyone else.
Exactly. She just sort of floats above the heavy consequences that Quita and Erica have to deal with every single day.
Then there's Gregory. He owns a McLaren automobile shop.
Gregory is the grounding force of the group. In a world full of people shouting to be heard and noticed, Gregory leads purely through action. He is the steady protector. He's arguably the most traditional figure in terms of just quiet stability, but he is not boring. He is just remarkably solid.
And Reese. He owns a social media marketing business.
Reese is great because he represents success achieved entirely outside the broken corporate system. While Quita is inside M&G fighting these exhausting battles, Reese is showing the group what it looks like to build something completely on your own terms.
A totally different path.
Right. It provides a nice thematic contrast. There is actually life outside the corporate walls.
Now, I really like the description of Melinda. She owns a high-end financial boutique.
The ultimate deal maker. She categorically refuses to negotiate from a place of insecurity.
That's powerful.
It is. She knows her exact leverage. She is a fantastic counterpoint to someone like Vera at the office, who relies entirely on her job title. Melinda relies on raw competence. She understands money. She understands value. And she simply does not suffer fools.
Now, here is one character that genuinely surprised me. Roberto. He is a successful male model and an influencer. Usually in sitcoms, this guy is written as a total unbearable jerk.
Right. The vain, arrogant model trope, the guy constantly looking in the mirror.
Exactly.
But the production notes specifically say he is extremely nice and not arrogant at all. His core struggle isn't vanity, it is the deep fear of losing his relevance. He desperately wants longevity.
Which makes him so much more relatable to the audience. He is in an industry that is entirely based on physical looks which inevitably fade. So his underlying anxiety is constantly, what comes next? How do I still matter when I am not the hot new thing?
It adds a really surprising layer of vulnerability to a character who, in a lesser show, could have just been a cheap caricature.
And then there is Caleb. He owns a high-end trading business. The notes mention that a lot of people think he is chaotic or even crazy.
But he's not. The lanes are very firm on this. He is a lateral thinker. He innovates freely, specifically because he doesn't care about the corporate rules the way everyone else does. He isn't crazy. He just sees connections that others completely miss.
I feel like the traditional corporate world is terrified of Caleb's. They don't fit neatly into a spreadsheet.
They are terrified of them, but they absolutely need them. True innovation usually comes from the chaotic thinkers. The show seems to validate Caleb's unconventional way of thinking as a legitimate form of genius that usually gets dismissed just because it isn't packaged correctly.
And of course, we cannot possibly forget Mr. Vassar.
Ah, the grand mystery.
He is a dog, but he is described in the Bible as nonverbal comic relief, who essentially mirrors the absurdity of the humans around him.
Mr. Vassar is almost acting like the audience surrogate in a way. He watches these high-powered, incredibly stressed-out humans and just reflects their bizarre behavior right back at them.
Just staring at them.
Right. And there's a specific note that Caleb isn't just projecting his own insecurities onto Mr. Vassar. Their connection is actually complicated. I love that the show takes the time to give a complex inner life to the dog.
It's very Shakespearean, isn't it? The fool or the animal is the only one in the room who actually sees the absolute truth.
Precisely. While everyone else is busy posturing, the dog is just quietly watching the madness.
So we have this incredible, diverse cast, this high-stakes dual setting. Let's talk a bit about the overall tone. The show Bible explicitly describes the comedy style as funny with teeth.
That is such a fantastic phrase, funny with teeth. It means the satire actually bites. It doesn't just lightly tickle the audience. It punches up at massive institutions, at unchecked ego, and at broken systems.
But it importantly doesn't mock identity.
No, and that is a very delicate, key balance they strike. It doesn't make fun of who people fundamentally are. It makes fun of what they do. Especially when what they do is highly performative or hypocritical. It is always punching up at the power structure, never down at the individuals trapped inside it.
And the emotional weight is allowed to be real. The source material emphasizes that the jokes don't undercut the serious dramatic moments. When Jay steals that product idea, the betrayal is genuinely felt by Quita and Erica. It is deeply frustrating.
Absolutely. The raw frustration sits right next to the humor. It's that very real feeling of laughing just to keep from screaming, which I think anyone who has ever had a corporate job can relate to on a spiritual level.
Oh, for sure.
You know, you are in a meeting, someone says something wildly out of touch or takes credit for your slide deck, and you catch your work friend's eye across the table. That shared look of, is this actually happening right now? That exact feeling is the tone of the show.
We talked a little bit about optics earlier, but this seems to be a really major recurring theme of the satire.
It is the core target. You have characters like Vera who completely confuse optics with innovation. They think if it looks innovative on a PowerPoint, it actually is.
And you have Becky, who confuses access with authority.
Yes. The show is constantly, meticulously deconstructing these illusions. It is asking the viewer to look past the shiny, polished surface, whether that is a slick marketing campaign or a smooth-talking social climber, and ask what is actually real here.
And unlike a lot of classic sitcoms where everything magically resets at the end of 22 minutes, the whole Simpsons effect where nothing ever really changes, the Ms Quita Gurl Show actually has a memory.
Yes, the conflicts naturally evolve. By the time we reach the end of season 1, Quita and Erica aren't in the exact same place they started. They aren't just passively reacting to Jay or Vera anymore. They are actively planning.
They're on the offensive.
They are proactive. The source says the season ends not with some neat, tidy resolution, but with real momentum.
They are finally playing the long game.
Just like the show itself is doing, it's setting up a grounded universe where actions have actual, lasting consequences. If you steal a major idea in episode 2, you are still going to be looking over your shoulder in episode 10.
So if we look at the big picture of everything we've discussed here, what would you say is the ultimate takeaway from Quita's specific journey in season 1?
I think it is fundamentally a lesson in modern survival. Quita starts with that pure belief that if I build it, they will come. If I am simply good at my job, I will naturally be rewarded. And the show systematically dismantles that lie. It says, if you are good, you will be targeted.
Oof, that is grim. But so true.
But it is not a hopeless message. I think that is the beauty of the writing. It is not a tragedy. It functions as a guide. It says because you will inevitably be targeted for your talent, you need protection. You need a rock-solid strategy. You need an Erica to watch your back. You need to build a tribe.
It is that massive shift from waiting for fairness to actively claiming your power.
Precisely. Talent alone is simply not enough. That is the hard pill the show makes us all swallow. You can easily be the smartest person in the room, like Quita almost always is. But if you don't understand the office politics, if you don't understand how the Jays and the Veras operate, you will lose.
You essentially have to know the rules in order to break them, or at the very least to survive them.
And you have to eventually stop playing by the rules that were specifically designed to keep you locked out. That is the whole point of strategy-based leadership. The rules of M&G are designed for a guy like Jay to win effortlessly. So Quita has to write her own rules.
And it is so fascinating that this deeply human message is coming from a show created by a human using the very tools, artificial intelligence, that are disrupting all of our industries right now.
It adds that extra brilliant layer of relevance. We are watching a story about preserving human value in a cold technological world, which was created by a human harnessing that exact technology. It's very meta. It proves the central point of the show. The tool, the AI, is entirely neutral. It is all about who is wielding it, the artist or the corporation.
It really is. Looking at those neighbor characters again, I keep thinking about how they beautifully represent all the different ways of dealing with the system.
How so?
Well, you have Reese, who just completely opted out. He went and built his own thing.
True.
You have Gregory, who just stays grounded and ignores all the toxic noise. And then you have Quita and Erica, who are right there in the belly of the beast, actively trying to rewire it from the inside out.
And then you have Caleb, who is just vibrating on a completely different frequency entirely.
The chaotic genius.
But maybe that is exactly the point. Maybe the Calebs of the world are the ones we actually need to be listening to more, instead of just dismissing them as chaotic or crazy. The show seems to heavily suggest that the people who look like they have it all together perfectly, the Veras and the Beckys, are the ones who are actually completely lost.
Right.
And the ones who seem a bit outside the norm, the Calebs, or even the quiet, invisible assistants like Megan, are the ones holding the real, tangible value.
It is a complete and total inversion of the standard corporate hierarchy.
Which is exactly what good satire is supposed to do. It flips the script entirely so we can finally see the sheer absurdity of our own daily reality.
I really love that. The Ms Quita Gurl Show isn't just trying to make us laugh. It is actively handing us a mirror.
A mirror and a playbook.
Yes, a playbook for dealing with all the J's in our own life.
Exactly. And a vital reminder that your so-called work family isn't always your real family. Your actual tribe, the Ericas, the Megans, the ones who tell you the truth, they are the only ones who really matter.
Well, we have definitely covered a lot of ground today, from the architecture of ambition to the brutal politics of the break room. It is very clear that this isn't just a cartoon. It is a masterclass in modern workplace dynamics.
It really is. It forces all of us to question our own deep-seated assumptions about leadership, loyalty, and success.
So here is something for you to think about as you go back to your own office, or log into your Zoom calls, or check your Slack channels today. We have talked a lot about the distinct archetypes in this show. The Jays, who confidently steal credit. The Calebs, who are brilliant but totally misunderstood. The Ericas, who see the unfiltered truth.
And the really big question is, in your own work environment, who are you currently overlooking?
Yeah. Who is the Caleb in your morning meeting whose ideas are getting quickly dismissed as crazy just because they don't fit the standard corporate mold? And on the flip side, who is the Jay taking all the credit for work they didn't actually do right under your nose?
And maybe the most uncomfortable question of all, are you still just waiting for fairness, or are you actively building your strategy?
Deep thoughts for your commute. Or whenever you happen to be listening to this.
It is always good to check your blind spots.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today into the Ms Quita Gurl Show. Keep your eyes open and definitely watch out for the optics.
And always protect your ideas.
We'll catch you on the next one.